Hi guys, JT here, and today I'm bringing you some information on the Humble Bundle Headup Brilliant Bargains Bundle of November 2025. To help you answer the question, should you buy it? By using links in the description below, you'll gain access to this bundle and support the channel in the process. Before I begin, I'd like to thank you the viewers for watching my silly videos. I hope they're helpful. Most importantly, knowing that you're watching it means the world. Anyway, let's get into this. And number 1 we have Soulslinger, Envoy of Death, a fast-paced roguelike FPS that casts you as a gunslinger trapped in limbo, fighting the Cartel, a ruthless organization intent on cheating death by harvesting souls. This unique Western fantasy setting is filled with charismatic villains and a tightly written story that adapts to your choices across randomized runs. The core gameplay loop is addictive, defined by snappy shooting, unlimited ammo with an emphasis on reloading, and a deep system for unlocking permanent upgrades in the hub, Haven. Many players praise the atmosphere, graphics, and especially the memorable voice acting, noting the high production value applied to the story and characters. With tons of gun fodder attacking in waves, the action is certainly high octane. However, the game currently suffers from significant balance issues that lead to frustration. Many initial upgrades feel lazy or minimally effective, some granting only 1% resistance, forcing you to prioritize powerful late-game unlocks like the Desolation Dash just to survive. The difficulty curve is punishing, with enemies often spamming attacks from ridiculous ranges, and some levels featuring non-stop overwhelming enemy spawns. The final boss fight in particular is frequently cited as a massive barrier, often feeling like an unreasonably long war of attrition, rather than a fair skill check. Despite the engaging premise and story, the general consensus is that the game needs substantial balancing and bug fixes to live up to its potential. It is a compelling experience with strong foundations, but you need patience to push through the current execution flaws. And number 2 we have Pumpkin Jack, a remarkable 3D platformer that captures the essence of the classic PS1 and PS2 games like Medieval and Spyro. This game stands out with its engaging combat, well-crafted storytelling, and delightful humor. You take control of Jack, a mischievous pumpkin who finds himself in the middle of a war between mindless monsters and humans. As Jack, you unleash your license to kill and embark on a journey filled with action and adventure. The game's writing is a highlight, with clever dialogue and comedic timing that will keep you entertained. The gameplay mechanics excel in both platforming and combat. The platforming is fun, although slightly challenging due to the controller input latency. The combat reminiscent of Medieval is relentless, yet rewarding, with a variety of weapons and special abilities to unlock. Jack is accompanied by a talking crow, who provides range attacks and assists in puzzles, adding a human element to the ghastly situation. Despite its strengths, Pumpkin Jack has a few drawbacks. The game is relatively short, with a playtime of around 2 to 3 hours. The soundtrack occasionally falls short, lacking thematic consistencies in certain parts. Additionally, the on-rail sections of the game feel repetitive and disrupt the overall flow. Despite these flaws, Pumpkin Jack remains a fantastic 3D platformer that successfully captures the charms of its predecessors. Its combat mechanics, storytelling, and unique take on the genre make it a worthwhile experience. While the game's length in certain aspects may be disappointing, the enjoyment derived from every minute of playtime is undeniable. And number 3 we have Hell Pie, an exuberant treat for lovers of 3D platformers, striking the perfect balance between movement mechanics and creative level design. The integration of a grappling hook catapults the game's fun factor, turning traversal into a sheer delight that's reminiscent of classics like Crackdown. From the moment you step into the bright and expansive hub area, it's evident that getting around in Hell Pie is where the true enjoyment lies. You're thrust into the shoes of Nate, a rather unconventional demon in charge of bad taste, in the depths of hell. When tasked by Satan himself to prepare a pie for his upcoming birthday, Nate embarks on a journey to Earth, alongside his pudgy cherub companion, Nugget. The game's distinct humor, straddling the line between cute and crude, is evident from the get-go. The introduction of a grappling hook that utilizes Nugget as a mid-air anchor point transforms Nate's maneuverability into a spectacle. Swinging through the air and navigating seamlessly impossible gaps feels magical and exhilarating. The main objective revolves around gathering ingredients for the baking quest, while a plethora of collectibles from the tins of candy meat to golden lucky cats await your exploration in each hub area. Upgrading Nate's and Nugget's abilities adds depth, allowing you to tailor your playstyle. However, some of the late game abilities may feel underwhelming, especially when compared to the sheer joy of fully utilizing the grappling mechanics. Each sub-level features a distinct theme that showcases the game's creative prowess, from a drug-fueled escapade to exploring the innards of a whale. While the game isn't without its flaws, such as occasionally difficult to spot collectibles and some late-game redundancies, its strengths overshadow these minor shortcomings. Hellpie stands as a testament to unabashed creativity, offering a genuinely fun and inventive platforming adventure that's hard to put down. And number 4 we have Ben and Ed Blood Party, a gloriously absurd and blood-soaked 3D physics platformer that throws you into a deadly game show as a customizable zombie contestant. This version pushes the formula toward multiplayer mayhem and user-generated creativity. Your goal is simple: survive brutal obstacle courses of traps, spinning blades, and lava pits to reach the finish line, or die hilariously trying. The premise is chaotic yet compelling. The game thrives on controlled chaos, using the advantages of your rotten body. Your zombie is modular. Losing a leg or arm does not end your run, it just changes how you move. You can still hop around, or even throw your head to trigger switches, or roll it through narrow paths. This cycle of dismemberment ensures failure is inevitable, but always entertaining, leveraging hilarious over-the-top animations and gruesome physics. The multiplayer component, supporting up to 4 players in competitive or cooperative modes, is where the game truly shines. Watching friends stumble, explode, or accidentally sabotage each other transforms the courses into hilarious spectacles of shared chaos. Beyond the base levels, the robust level editor and over 3,000 community-made workshop maps provide near limitless replayability. This commitment ensures you never run out of fresh obstacles or new ways to fail spectacularly, making a timeless creation. While some players find the game's intentionally clunky physics frustrating and certain elements feel like an endurance test, the joy of shared destruction and the magnetic appeal of slapstick horror filtered through a physics-based party game make it worth the price. If you appreciate the humor and chaos and the unpredictability of physics, you'll find this chaotic, irreverent platformer delivers pure entertainment. At number 5 we have The Textorcist, the story of Bibbia, a brutal and brilliant hybrid bullet hell shooter and a typing game that demands your full brain, both hands, and a steady supply of holy water. You play as Bibbia, a disgraced exorcist, dodging demonic bile and satanic lasers while frantically typing out sacred verses to banish evil. You'll use one hand to move through impossibly dense attack patterns, and the other to hammer out prayers letter by letter. Touch typing won't help you here. This is chaos, and you're typing with one hand while dodging with the other. It is awkward, intense, and weirdly exhilarating. The challenge is high, but fair. Get hit and Ray drops his Bible, reach it in time and you pick up where you left off. Fail and you start the prayer from scratch. With only 3 lives per level, you'll constantly weigh risk versus reward. Fortunately, each level's text stays the same, letting you memorize incantations over multiple runs and focus on execution. As you advance, the game evolves, from upside-down Latin typing to bomb defusal. Every level pushes you harder, but also smarter. The presentation is stellar. Pixel art is expressive, and environments are rich with detail, when you're not too panicked to see them, and the pulsing techno soundtrack perfectly complements the chaos. The only lull is the filler between fights, but it's forgivable. If you want a unique challenge that's as stressful as it is satisfying, the Textorcist delivers divine punishment in the best way. At number 6 we have Industria, a game that thrusts you into a unique gaming experience set in an alternative 1989 during the fall of the Berlin Wall. The first-person shooter, with a sci-fi edge, intricately weaves together elements of gritty storytelling, peculiar puzzles, and resource management, akin to a blend of War of the Worlds and Half-Life. As you embody Nora, a scientist grappling with the aftermath of experiments involving the Atlas tech, you find yourself flung into a parallel dimension. Here, hostile robots relentlessly pursue you, introducing a measured and strategic approach to gameplay. The emphasis on stealth and tactics over frenzied action may resonate with fans seeking a more contemplative gaming experience within the shooter genre. Despite the game featuring a somewhat limited selection of weapons and exhibiting visuals that could be considered somewhat dated, it compensates by delivering a suspenseful and captivating narrative. The seamless integration of science fiction with historical drama, set against the backdrop of the fall of the Berlin Wall, adds depth to the storytelling. The atmospheric elements in Industria are particularly commendable. Stellar audio, including a dramatic soundtrack and impactful sound effects, elevates the overall immersion. The absence of a human presence, coupled with the use of walkie-talkies, creates a cold and sinister edge to the plot. The game's architectural design successfully blends classic and futuristic styles, contributing to a visually engaging environment. For enthusiasts of first-person shooters, the controls, although exhibiting a minor input delay, remain familiar and accessible. Industria emerges as a noteworthy indie title, offering a unique perspective within the FPS and adventure genres. While the replay value may be somewhat limited and the controls occasionally less responsive, the game's original storytelling, claustrophobic ambiance, and chilling undertones make for a compelling and worthwhile gaming experience. At number 7 we have Tinkertown, a relaxed and refreshing multiplayer sandbox experience where you explore a procedurally generated world, craft gear, and build your own fantasy kingdom. Whether you grab a pickaxe to a mine, a sword to a fight, or shovel to farm, this charming game offers a cozy sandbox mix of classic adventure vibes, featuring biomes like mystical forests and icy tundras. You can explore alone or with up to 4 friends, plunging into ancient dungeons and fighting nasty bosses for unique loot. Your equipment determines your role, be it warrior, mage, or hunter, as you craft hundreds of items, from powerful weapons to decorative elements for your cozy adventurer's hut. The full release added useful features like a quest journal and an endgame dungeon, indicating active development. However, the game's reception remains mixed due to a few critical flaws that impact the quality of life. The most egregious issue is the inventory system. Players report having extremely limited slots, compounded by many essential items being unstackable. Since dungeons reset upon leaving, you're frequently forced to drop valuable tools and loot, making dungeon diving frustrating and rewarding. For a game focused on exploration and collecting, this is a major structural problem. Furthermore, you might encounter bugs, especially in multiplayer, and progression can feel like a cookie-cutter collectathon. Despite these shortcomings, the game has a strong, charming pixel art style, and the core loop of exploring, crafting, and building is genuinely fun, especially when shared with friends. If you can tolerate the abysmal inventory management, there's an enjoyable vast world to lose yourself in. At number 8 we have Dr. Fetus, Mean Meat Machine, a surprisingly inventive puzzle game spin-off set in the Super Meat Boy universe, where the titular doctor attempts to clone Meat Boy. While the foundation is a basic match 4 system, the level design brilliantly transforms it into an intense action survival experience that embodies the original game's demanding DNA. The core goal of each stage is to fill a side gauge by matching 4 identical icons. Crucially, as you make matches, the stages rapidly fill with obstacles like rotating saws and wandering ghosts. The game shifts focus from building high chains to simply surviving with enough pieces intact to make a match. You have tight controls, moving left and right, increasing or slowing the descent of icons, but traps can destroy icons already placed or instantly take you out, forcing a restart from the previous checkpoint. This reliance on quick reflexes, proper timing, and retrying with carried over knowledge is what makes it feel so much like Super Meat Boy. The levels are handcrafted, offering a brutal difficulty curve that encourages fortitude. While the world themes can become visually stale after a few stages, they drastically change as you progress to new worlds, introducing fresh traps and aesthetics. The game is highly bolstered by its exceptional soundtrack, featuring catchy beats and an encouraging ambience that perfectly complements the addictive gameplay loop. If you're yearning for a fresh, inventive puzzle experience that demands tight reflexes and proper timing, or if you're a fan who felt Super Meat Boy Forever lost the original spirit, you'll find Dr. Fetus' Mean Meat Machine is a satisfying and compelling hit. At number 9 we have Bridge Constructor Portal, a fun physics-based puzzle game that combines the familiar, challenging bridge building mechanics of the Bridge Constructor series with the iconic technology of the Portal universe. Across 60 progressively complex test chambers, your goal is to safely usher vehicles from entrance to exit by constructing durable bridges, ramps, and supports, often in conjunction with portals and other deadly aperture science tools. You'll utilize classic portal systems, including turrets, weighted companion cubes used to activate buttons, and propulsion and repulsion gels to thrust your cargo across gaps. The titular portals, sometimes used in dizzying sequences, are the centerpiece of the physics puzzles, requiring you to carefully plan momentum and trajectory. The puzzles are often challenging, and the game is highly forgiving, allowing you to quickly test your solution and let vehicles explode, crash, and burn until you figure out the precise requirements. GLaDOS, voiced by the original actor, is present as your mentor, providing commentary. While the humor does not quite reach the cruel genius of the mainline Portal games, the tone is suitably cute and reminiscent of the brand. Once you master a level with a single vehicle, you can increase the difficulty by running an entire fleet, which often requires completely rebuilding your structure to handle the added weight and chaotic cross-traffic. The main drawback is the occasional tiresome fine-tuning required to solve a puzzle, demanding you repeatedly adjust tiny joints until a vehicle makes a jump just so. However, the satisfaction of success and the entertaining nature of failure make it worthwhile. If you're looking for a game that puts familiar portal tech to creative use in a rewarding physics setting, this inventive hybrid is a great pick. At number 10 we have Inner World: The Last Wind Monk, a point-and-click adventure sequel that returns you to the subterranean world of Esposia, picking up 3 years after Robert defeated Conroy. While it retains a charming hand-drawn animation, clever inventory-based puzzles, and multi-character control from the original, this follow-up emphasizes a noticeably darker, more sinister tone. The core mechanics remain familiar and enjoyable. You control Robert, his sidekick Peck, and eventually Laura, switching between them with a simple click. This allows you to solve puzzles from multiple angles, leveraging Robert's wind songs, Laura's strength, and Peck's ability to fly. The inventory puzzles offer a good challenge, demanding creative multi-step solutions, which ensures the game's approximately 10-hour playtime is well spent. For assistance, you can display hotspots and access a step-by-step in-game walkthrough. However, the change in atmosphere is significant. The story sees a new villain, Emil, turning the citizens of Esposia into a mindless mob, willing to round up and persecute the Flute Noses, a setup that creates an uncomfortable, oppressive World War II ambience. This sense of bigotry and the effective undoing of the first game's victory saps some of the original's lighthearted charm. Despite its heavier mood, the game manages levity through its oddball characters and improved voice acting, which is by and large good, though Robert's nasally whine remains unaltered. While a couple of puzzles are frustratingly nonsensical, the sequel retains high production values and challenging gameplay. If you can handle the shift to a somber, grimmer backdrop, you will find this a rewarding adventure that successfully builds on its predecessor. And that's all for this bundle. This bundle is pure cheap dopamine for your library. While the community reviews are undeniably mixed, that just means you've got a massive pile of bargains with high potential for finding a sleeper hit. Yeah, some quick titles like Industria are over fast, but it's still high-octane action for virtually nothing. For the price of a coffee, you're getting a full shelf of games. If you love a good gaming bundle and want serious value, this bundle is worth the risk. In any case, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if this video was helpful, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and maybe consider buying the channel a coffee. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.